Hello, I'm Max Yin,
I'm Luke Schneider.
I'm John Krzyzewski.
I'm Johnny Nash.
And I'm Chase Bliss.
and this is our presentation on the conservation of tuna stocks. So first, I will cover the problem and the causes of this problem. Then I'll hand it off to my teammates who will explain our two solutions, and finally, Chase and Johnny will explain which of these are better and why. So our problem is the global overfishing of tuna, and Amanda Nixon, who is the International Director of Fisheries at Pew Charitable Trust, states that the International Scientific Committee for Tuna and tuna-like species in the Northern Pacific Ocean shows that overfishing has now driven the stock down by 97.4%. Clearly, this shows that tuna stocks are being driven down and that this problem needs to be faced. So our three causes for this problem are weak regulation, high demand, and illegal fishermen. First off is weak regulation. The ICCAT, which stands for the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tuna, estimates that between 1998 and 2007, over 50,000 tons of tuna were caught per year when only 30,000 were allowed. This shows that the ICCAT needs help regulating its own laws. Second is high demand. A study revealed that last year in 2024, the tuna market was worth $43.14 billion, and most of this is contributed by the large sushi markets that are run by Japan. Finally is illegal fishing. Up to every 1 in 5 fish are caught illegally, according to Pew. And according to the World Wildlife Fund, last year, a group of 76 illegal fishermen were caught with 80 tons of tuna. This alone was worth $12 million. So just imagine how much all the other illegally fished are worth. This is a graph showing the steady decline of tuna populations in recent years.
Solution 1, weaker hooks. What are weaker hooks? Weaker hooks are hooks that are made out of weaker material than normal fishing hooks and will straighten out under the weight and force that bigger fish will have, and thus saving the fish's life. This will reduce the bycatch of bluefin tuna, or in other words, the accidental catch of bluefin tuna. And bluefin can't be caught anymore if the hooks that are being used aren't able to catch them. This is put to words very well by Ann Eisenberg in the New York Times, who is relaying and paraphrasing her interview she had with John E. Mitchell. And John E. Mitchell was somebody who helped engineer the weaker hook. And she said, Mr. Mitchell said that in 2 years of tests in the Gulf with commercial fishermen, the new hooks reduced the number of accidentally caught bluefins by 56% without reducing the catch of targeted fish like yellowfin. The circular hook is similar to a slightly heavier one already in use to reduce the number of sea turtles caught in long lines. So we can see through the mentioning of the sea turtles that this has already been used in a different way, but weaker hooks have already been implemented to try to save species. There are pros and cons to this solution. Some of the pros to this is that it's very cost effective. It is just weaker materials using on fishing hooks. It's very easy to implement. All fishermen will have to do is change their hooks, and they will be participating in this. And it's already in use, like I said earlier, with the sea turtles. This has already been used, and also in tests in the Gulf of Mexico and other places. Some downsides to this solution is that fishermen could just not choose to use them, and that would defeat the entire purpose of the solution. It has a limited effectiveness. There are lots of species of fish, and this could reduce the catching of a lot of other big fish and create an imbalance in the population between small fish and big fish. And there are a lot of different there are a lot of different types of bluefin. Some big, some small, and those smaller bluefins and juvenile bluefins can still be caught and can still participate in the overfishing.
So solution 2 is increased government regulation on the quotas. So first, what is a quota? A quota is a fixed share of something that a group or person is entitled to receive. Quotas are very important in wildlife because animals are particularly hard to sustain. So there are two types of quotas, the reserve and the general. The reserve is a set limit or the set fishing limit that is set aside for purposes other than harvest. It's usually for preservation. The other category, general, is the limit that all commercial fishermen share, and is much smaller than the reserve quota. In order to fish, you need two things. You need authorization or a license and regulation on the fishing size. So there are two different types of permits, the HMS angling and HMS headboat or charter boat. HMS stands for high migratory species, like bluefin tuna and yellowtail. So the HMS angling is for recreational fishing, and the headboat is for commercial fishing and charter boats. Now the regulation, it varies on its location, whether it's in the Gulf, the Pacific, the Atlantic Ocean, but the range is generally between 23 inches to 73 inches. So the pros and cons of this solution, the pros is reduced fishing pressure, sustainable growth because less fish will be caught, and protection of marine ecosystem because if the bluefin tuna is overfished, then the food chain that it's a part of will be destroyed. However, the cons are the impact on the fishing industry because the bluefin is the #1 fish in the economic industry. Job losses will occur and that will make a black market.
Which solution is best? So our two options here are weaker hooks and quota regulation. Weaker hooks are the worst option here. This can be shown because there are many examples of it not working. For example, in the Gulf of Mexico longline fishery, many fishermen just chose not to use it. They used stronger hooks or they bend the hooks back in shape to make them the same effectiveness as a bigger hook. It isn't reasonable either. People can simply increase fishing efforts. This is shown by in the Mediterranean. A lot of fishermen just put more lines out or use gear to counteract the smaller hooks. This can't stop conservation efforts totally. Species problems. So these smaller hooks, while they might be more effective in not catching bluefin, they catch a lot of other endangered species such as sharks, sea turtles, swordfish, and economic pressures. In Japan, especially because they're a large sushi market, a lot of them are pressured into using bigger hooks to drive the demand for more fish. And in total, it just doesn't work because they're not incentivized to use these smaller hooks.
All right, why the quota regulation will work. Now looking at the pros and cons, you can obviously see that this is a better solution. And here's why. This proven success multiple times, such as the North Atlantic swordfish situation, where there was absolutely a massive amount of overfishing from foreign adversaries. And they used quotas to regulate how much fishing they could use. And this happened in 1990, and the population of swordfish soared back up in the late 2000s. And this is by the ACCAT. And another example is the Icelandic cod situation, where they made individual transferable quotas, which each gave people different sections of how much fish they could catch for cod because of the overfishing again by foreign adversaries. And they gave this to them, and they increased the population of cod by over 3 times in just a year, and it exponentially rose back into shape. And it also promotes better fishing practices, because in the groundfish fishery, they changed their gear to catch a specific type of fish because they couldn't risk grabbing an endangered animal because it would result in a massive penalty on their quotas. And the collective reason why that quotas will work is that it encourages selective fishing, allows fish stocks to recover, reduces overall fishing pressure, encourages better techniques, and increases accountability, overall making it the better solution. And that's what we want.